Hello, everybody. Greetings from Optometry Council of India. Eye being one of the most important sense organs, we have an expert in that field to tell us more about how to take care of our eyes. Hello, Prem Nandini. Dr. Prem Nandini is an optometrist by profession and is also a scientist at LV Prasad Eye Institute and has a volume of knowledge regards the eye. So, Prem Nandini, coming from a common man's point of view, how do we take good care of our eyes? It does, washing the eyes frequently, or maintaining a certain reading distance when you read books or look at the computer, all that, does it help in taking care of the eyes? So in general, how do you take good care of the eyes?
All right. Hi, Lakshmi. Thank you for the question. And I think you gave a good introduction by saying that eye is one of the important sensory organs. And that's very true because of amongst all the five senses that we have, when we say blindness or vision impairment, it is actually a very frightening disability for many people. There is a lot of scientific evidence that says quality of life reduces so much for these patients with vision impairment and blindness. Not only that, vision impairment can also lead to falls and injuries. So this is why we say that, eyesight or vision is very important. So first we need to know why it is important in order to take good care of one's eyes. Now, how does one take good care of the eye? Just like how we care for, for the rest of the body, if we maintain healthy life habits, such as, having proper diet, avoiding smoking because that can affect the nerves in the eye, sleeping at the proper time, not staying too late in the night and looking at the computer, or sleeping on the bed and going over WhatsApp messages or looking at videos, working on or reading on the computer for prolonged time without taking a break. All of this can actually lead to eye strain. So we need to avoid these kinds of habits. And good lighting, good posture, these are also important because all of this is going to affect how comfortably we see. These are the external factors and habits that we can control. Along with this, how do we maintain eye hygiene? Normal face wash, because you asked about how frequently should we wash. So normal face wash should take care of cleaning the eyes also. It will remove all the dirt. And if somebody is using cosmetics, then they'll have to make sure that the product that they're using is safe. Better is to avoid. But anytime if they're getting irritation or redness with the product that they're using, they need to discontinue it. And if needed, also discard those products because there might be some contamination by the microbes which is sort of causing this. It could be an infection, so people need to take care of that. And if people are wearing contact lenses, I'm sure the optometrist would have given them the basic hygiene procedure of what to follow with contact lens, so that should be adhered to. So this is how we can take good care of the eye. And anytime if anybody has any symptoms with their eyes, like I have redness or eye strain, do not neglect it. Do take an appointment with your eye care professional and get it tested right away. So do not ignore those symptoms. So if we follow all of this, that means we are taking good care of our eyes.
Thank you about that. And I think you brought up some very good points in terms of, people spending more time on devices such as mobile phones and tablets and computers, which have increased now because of the current situation due to Corona. All these using of all the gadgets has drastically increased. And you also mentioned that people falling down because of poor eyesight is definitely more. It's very interesting because we've had parents bring their child in because the person cannot see properly. So in the sense, they found out that the person doesn't see the steps properly and then falls down, and then that becomes a reason for them to bring them for an eye exam, where we find then the power is really high. So how often do you think that we have to have an eye exam so that we can detect conditions much earlier than coming the power increasing a lot and then for them to bring in for an eye exam?
Right. So like I mentioned, anytime if you have any eye condition or symptoms, right away seek care. Otherwise, in general, because you also gave the important phrase, how do we detect it very early, right? So when it comes to children, the recommendation is that children needs to get their eyes screened within 1 year of age. That is from, from the time they are born till about age 1. If we are able to catch any eye problem within that age, then we can treat them much more efficiently, okay, rather than presenting
when they're born to 1 year. So that's really early. You can do an eye exam. Is it that early? Because the common myth is, I mean, at least among the parents, is that the child needs to start going to school and looking at the board, and that's when they think that they have to bring them for an eye exam.
That's right, because many adults associate eye checkup to reading letters on a chart. So they assume that a child or a baby should grow up in order to be able to go for an eye testing. That is not necessarily true. We do have certain tools and techniques in which we can examine the eye of the child and can even find out whether they will need spectacles or not. There are also certain eye conditions. Say, for example, cataract can come in small children. We call it as congenital cataract. All these conditions needs to be picked up very early on so that the developing visual system is put in proper place with proper focus. So this is important that kids get screened early on. So that is in terms of how, when do they get their eyes tested. Also, if anyone has any family history of eye conditions like glaucoma or hereditary conditions like retinitis pigmentosa, they should also make sure that they are getting their eyes checked. Other than that, if somebody is absolutely healthy, normal, no symptoms, the recommendation can vary anywhere from once in 2 years to once in 5 years. Sometimes people around the age of 40 will have problems in their reading. So at that time, they would require reading spectacles, and around that time, they should go for an eye checkup. So these are sort of like, for different age groups, when is the eye testing recommendations? This is what is laid out.
This actually brings me to my next question, Prem Nandini. Quite a few parents come and ask that what kind of food should I give my child so that the power goes back to zero or improve their eyesight. Can I give carrots and other things? What kind of nutrition should I follow? Yes. So that's the common question that we get asked as well.
Right. Yes, you are bringing a very important, and almost invariably every parent to whom when we say that the child has to wear spectacles will always turn around and ask, should I have to give them carrot more or green leafy vegetables? Now, all of this is important because that's a balanced diet. There are a lot of vitamins in these fruits and vegetables, which is going to keep our eye tissues healthy. So the physiology of the eye is maintained healthy because of these nutritious food. But our eye is like a camera, and therefore the outside body part of the camera can be maintained healthily by these healthy foods. But the eye actually has a focusing mechanism. It has a lens, and the cornea also acts as a focusing mechanism. Now that focusing mechanisms, which essentially is the optics in the eye, cannot be fixed by any nutrition, cannot be fixed by tablets, injections, or with your food. So the only way to fix that is essentially giving them spectacles or contact lens, and at a later time, probably they can go for a refractive surgery, or what they say as the laser surgery. But the food is not going to fix it for them.
Yeah. And the other question that often optometrists get asked is that do eye exercises reduce the power that a kid has? When we gently tell them that this is what we have diagnosed, you have to wear the spectacles, you have to ask your child to wear the spectacles. The immediate question is, one is about nutrition and the other one is, give me some eye exercises so that we can get rid of the spectacles.
Yes, so I've also heard some parents say that, there are these clinics and they probably do some yoga and then the power goes away. Many parents are actually very desperate to try out these things because they don't want their child to wear the spectacles. Now, we do not have a very concrete scientific evidence to say that these exercises will work out and reduce the power. That said, we also don't know whether it will work. So, we are undecided about it. But one thing I can say is that in case if there is an eye power that has creeped in because of the way, we are constantly looking at something. And so there is what we call as pseudo myopia. Pseudo means false. So this happens because if somebody is like looking at one position for a long time, their eye muscle that is helping in focusing the lens, which I was mentioning earlier, could go into a sort of state of spasm. So under those stressed condition, then an artificially high power is obtained in when we do the power check. And in those cases, perhaps some relaxing exercises may help out. But as I said, we do not have a concrete evidence to say that eye exercises per se can reduce somebody who has true myopia. That is not a pseudo myopia, not a false myopia, but a true myopia. The eye exercise can take away that power back to zero. We do not have any such information. That said, there is a whole lot of myopia research which talks about outdoor activities and all of that, not per se about the eye exercises to reducing the power.
So from whatever you've mentioned just now, I have a comment as well as a question. The comment is that with the current times where everybody is using a lot of tabs and computers, so I guess once everything starts opening up completely and we are slowly getting back to normal, whenever that time occurs, so there are chances of many pseudo myopias coming, I guess, because everybody is glued to these gadgets, with primarily because of educational needs and other things. And the second question I had is, so the difference that you're saying is when you said that eye is acting like a camera. So in case of this false myopia, it's not about the the film or the retina not coming into, I mean, the image not getting into focus there, but it's more to do with the muscle impairment, correct?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I suppose in simple terms we could say it's an issue with the muscles that actually helps in the focusing mechanism, which is the lens in our eye. I wouldn't necessarily fully call it as impairment, but yes, for a general understanding, that will be the way we will put it. Now, the important thing is, sometimes many people go for an eye exam and they get their eyes tested, and the only thing they get tested for is, what's the smallest letter that they are reading on the chart. That does not constitute a comprehensive eye examination. Okay, so for a comprehensive eye examination, you will have to check on several other things like muscle balance and how adequate is your focusing mechanism, how good is your 3D vision, etc. So it will be important to find out an eye care professional who can be an optometrist or an ophthalmologist who can give this comprehensive eye examination. So that will be important, because I do see patients who actually wear these high-powered spectacles, and then we find out that they shouldn't have been wearing it because it's a false myopia.
Yeah, a very important fact that you alluded to in terms of comprehensive eye exam. Actually, a lot of people, in terms of even, if they are diabetic or if they have any other disease, are unaware of that. And I think many of them can be detected through a comprehensive eye exam as well. So what is the role of, genetics in terms of diabetes, in terms of glaucoma, or even in terms of, let's say, myopia in children?
Right. So important question, because we also were saying that, who should go for an eye checkup and all of that. And we said that anybody having a family history of glaucoma or retinitis pigmentosa should go. Along those lines, you also mentioned diabetes, and that's important because people should be aware that diabetes can also affect the eye. It can cause a condition called diabetic retinopathy. So many a times, when people go for their comprehensive eye examination that would include a retina checkup, many of them find there is diabetic retinopathy, and after that they find out they are actually having diabetes. So as they say, your eye is the window to the soul. Your eye is also a window to the rest of your body functioning in many ways. So it is important to keep in mind that if there is diabetes in the family, yes, an eye checkup should also be there, and yes, there is a hereditary component to it. And also, Yes, there are certain eye conditions that have the hereditary component, and therefore a regular eye checkup is important. When it comes to myopia, that's a little more complex in the sense that you do have an hereditary component there, but you also have several other factors, environmental factors, that are responsible for this condition. So we do see some parents who actually do not wear any spectacles, but their child could be having a high minus power, and they are very surprised because they constantly tell us, how is it possible, none of us are wearing spectacles. So it could just, some of the times that might be the first case in the family. So I don't think we have fully understood on this inheritance as such, at least for myopia.
Thanks about that. Now, coming to the next question is a very common one in terms of, red eye. So a lot of people think that conjunctivitis, or in layman's term, they call it as Madras eye. I don't know why Madras has been blamed for it. Both of us hail from the same city. So Madras eye, they say that if I look at that person, I think my eye also will become red. So they tend not to look at people who have conjunctivitis of Madras eye. So is that the way it spreads, or can you just allude to that fact?
Yeah, so the red dye, and is it contagious? How does it become contagious, or how will it spread? So one thing we need to understand is any eye that is looking red is always not a conjunctivitis or a Madras eye. Okay, the eyes can be red due to several other causes, including some dust particle falling into the eye. But amidst the different kinds of red dye that you can have, if somebody has conjunctivitis, which is actually an infection caused by some microbes like bacteria or virus, now those can become contagious, but it is not contagious when somebody looks at another person having red eye. If that were the case, then all the eye care professionals will be developing conjunctivitis because they are looking at the patient's eyes, right? So the way this is spreading is, it is essentially from the hand to the eye. Okay, so even in the present scenario where we are having the COVID infection going on, and people would have heard that corona infection is also causing conjunctivitis. That is a viral conjunctivitis. It is contagious. And just like what the healthcare professionals and government people are advertising and announcing to maintain hygienic habits, such as washing your hands frequently, making sure you avoid touching your face, nose, eyes, or mouth. So that is, and if you're following that protocol, then there is no way you're going to spread it to yourself. Okay, and if you have an urge to itch your eye or anything, make sure your hands are sanitized and then you touch your eye. So the conjunctivitis essentially spreads from the hand to the eye, and not by looking at somebody with a red eye.
So much of information, Prem Nandini. I think lots to learn. And in summary, if I can put all that you've said is, maintain good hygiene, keep your hands clean, keep your eyes clean as well, and go for regular eye checkup, and make sure you have a complete comprehensive eye exam, and just not rush up with just having your power checked. And kids between the time that they're born as well as 1 year old is a crucial time to get their eyes examined. So much of information. Thank you for your time, Prem Nandini. I think all those people who watch this definitely will learn a lot from this video, and a lot of myths, will, whatever they had as understandings, I think all that will go away by watching this video. So thanks a lot, Dr. Prem Nandini, for your time, as well as all the information that you've shared with us.
Yeah, I must thank you, Lakshmi, and Optometry Council of India for the fantastic effort of trying to collate all this information and creating public awareness. Greatly appreciate the opportunity and the service you all are doing. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.